When humanity first reached the forgotten planet named Illyrian 47, the mission was supposed to be simple: scan the surface, map underground chambers, collect samples, and leave. The planet had no life, no atmosphere, and no visible source of danger. But from the moment their ship landed, the ground under them hummed, almost like something deep inside the planet was waking up. The crew ignored it at first. Strange vibrations were common on unstable planets. Commander Elias Varus stepped out of the ship and walked toward a massive stone wall that stretched across a canyon. It was carved with strange symbols, older than any record known in the galaxy. No alien race claimed to build it, and nobody could explain why it still stood. His team scanned it with basic equipment. At first, nothing happened. The wall seemed dead. Then, one of the human researchers placed her bare hand on a carved line, and the entire wall lit up. A blue glow spread across every symbol. The carvings rearranged themselves, shifting like puzzle pieces until the symbols aligned into readable words, readable only in human language. On the surface, the message looked harmless. Do not awaken the core beneath. Existence bends once disturbed. Some scientists laughed. They called it superstition, ancient myths, just like old warnings found on Earth centuries ago. The alien observers who later joined the site mocked it too. They repeated that no artifact older than 500,000 years could still function. They said the message was probably created by a primitive race terrified of its own technology. But the message glowed brighter whenever humans walked close. It ignored aliens completely. It reacted to human presence only. Commander Elias did not laugh. He stood silent, watching the light pulse like a heartbeat under the stone. He felt something strange, like the wall was aware of him. Like it remembered him. The excavation began. Slow, careful work. Dust was removed. Sand was brushed away. Beneath the writing, they discovered a sealed doorway shaped like a perfect circle. The metal covering it was smooth, no rust, no cracks, no damage. A material no one recognized. When the scientists tried to scan beyond it, the readings jammed. Machines overheated. Screens flashed incorrect numbers. Aliens told them to stop. Humans did not stop. Human curiosity always won. While the team worked, 3 alien ambassadors arrived from nearby colonies. They believed the planet was a historical landmark and should not be touched. They warned humanity that many other civilizations came before and found nothing useful inside. We know these ruins, one ambassador said proudly. They are empty. They are illusions of an extinct culture. There is nothing here. Commander Elias replied with only one sentence. We will not stop until we know the truth. Days passed. The doorway remained locked. Then something shocking happened. Elias leaned forward, rested his hand against the sealed door, and the metal softened like liquid. The circle slowly opened inward, releasing a sharp gust of cold air, as if time itself was trapped inside. Behind the door, they found a massive chamber. At the center stood a machine larger than any spacecraft engine. It floated above the ground, not touching anything. No wires, no supports, just suspended in the air like a captured star. Its shape constantly shifted, sometimes like a sphere, sometimes like a spiral, sometimes like something with edges that bent in impossible ways. The moment Elias walked closer, the chamber ignited with symbols again. The floating machine spoke, not in sound, but as mathematical patterns projected around them. The patterns formed into images, showing galaxies collapsing, stars vanishing, planets fading into darkness. Not destroyed, erased. A voice formed from those patterns, as if translated directly into human thought. You who see this, your species alone holds the key. Reality fractures ahead. Do not release what sleeps beneath. Everyone froze. Scientists recorded everything. Aliens stared in disbelief, unable to hear or understand any part of the message. To them, the chamber looked empty, silent, meaningless. One alien shouted, "The machine is not communicating. You are imagining." But humans saw everything clearly. When the projections ended, the machine dimmed again. The chamber went still. The message repeated only once more, this time without calculations. Humanity will choose the path that rewrites existence. Some believed it. Some feared it. Most laughed again. What power could rewrite existence, they said. What threat is big enough to erase galaxies? Commander Elias answered quietly. That warning did not come from our imagination. It came from something older than everything we know. And though most still ignored it, Elias knew the message was real. He also knew that humanity, even if unprepared, would soon face whatever lay beneath the surface of Illyrian 47. The discovery at Illyrian 47 was sent back to Earth with urgency, sealed inside encrypted channels, marked Priority Omega, a level used only for extinction-level events. Yet, when the footage reached Earth's Council, the response was far from serious. Some politicians said the team was exaggerating. Reporters mocked them. And in public broadcasts, scientists, who had never stepped foot on the ruins, said that the projections were optical illusions caused by light refraction inside crystalline materials. But something strange began happening across the galaxy. The first sign emerged on the planet Vesser. A mining station recorded a wave of distortion passing through the air, silent, invisible, leaving sensors scrambled. Workers reported seeing the stars in the sky flicker like dying embers. The distortion moved across the station, then vanished. When command tried contacting the site after 2 minutes of silence, no one responded. Hundreds were gone. Not dead. Not evaporated. Gone, erased. Their names disappeared from systems. Their family records vanished. Their IDs no longer existed. It was as if they were never born. Human scientists studying Illyrian 47 recognized the pattern immediately. The distortions matched the timeline projections shown inside the ancient chamber. But governments still refused to act. Then the second wave came. This time on the colony of Demostria, a world shared by 3 species. In a single night, an entire city vanished. Buildings remained. Vehicles remained. Lights remained. But no living being was there. Chairs were still pulled away from tables. Food remained unfinished. Doors left open. But every resident was gone. It was not destruction. Not war. Not infection. It was rewriting. Commander Elias begged for evacuation protocols. His warnings finally reached someone, Earth's Strategic Defense Division. Human fleets moved. Human satellites activated. Every sensor was pointed outward. What other civilizations mocked, humanity treated seriously. More distortions appeared across the outer galaxy. Each wave erased more life. Some alien fleets attempted to attack the distortion field, firing lasers, plasma shells, quantum rounds, but nothing hit anything. Their weapons passed through empty air. The distortions were not physical. They were edits to reality. Something unseen was correcting existence the way someone edits text on a screen. Human scientists compared every recording to the machine's earlier projections. The timelines aligned perfectly. Every disappearance followed the exact order shown inside the chamber. It was not random. It was scheduled. And humanity, only humanity, knew what was coming next. Elias gathered his crew. Every cycle brings us closer to the main convergence, he said. The convergence was a point where reality collapsed into a choice, either survival or erasure. But no one knew how to stop it. Then something new happened. When the distortion reached a small moon called Terran 9, humanity witnessed something impossible. Instead of erasing the moon, the field paused, like a frozen moment, and the ancient symbols from Illyrian 47 appeared in the sky. Not carved. Not projected from a ship. Floating in open space. This time, billions could see them. And across every human colony, devices translated the same message simultaneously. Only humanity can break the rewrite cycle. One must enter the core. One must choose. Alien leaders panicked. They turned to humanity for answers. Suddenly, the same people who laughed now pleaded for help. Under pressure, Earth initiated the highest-level protocol, Sentinel Directive. A massive engineering mission began. Humanity used fragments of the chamber's designs. The floating machine was scanned, copied, studied. Electricity, neural mapping, all merged into one living structure. They built something no species had ever attempted. A human-powered timeline gate. The gate could interact with the rewrite energy, but only if someone with the right DNA entered it. Scans revealed the pattern belonged to one human. Commander Elias Varus. Some thought it was chance. Others believed the ancient ruins chose him long before he was born. As distortions grew stronger, entire systems prepared to disappear. Humanity no longer had months. They had days. And Elias knew that if he stepped into the timeline gate, he would not just travel. He would rewrite history. Or cease to exist. There was no guarantee. No return. No second attempt. But one truth remained clear. Ignoring the ancient warning was no longer an option. The galaxy was collapsing. And humanity was now responsible for rewriting the future. When the gate was finally built, it stood like a silver ring suspended above the ground, connected to no wires, held by no support. It hummed quietly, vibrating like a living pulse. Engineers could not explain it. Scientists could not replicate it. But the structure kept reacting to one single presence, Commander Elias Varus. Every time he stepped near it, the ring brightened and projected shifting symbols, not in alien language, but in human script. Some messages looked like warnings, others looked like equations bending into shapes that broke rules of physics. The council suggested waiting for more analysis. Elias refused. "What are we waiting for?" he said calmly. "If we wait longer, another world disappears." The timeline was accelerating. Distortions were happening every 12 hours. Erased colonies were growing into dozens. Some species fled into deep space, some hid in shielded stations, some prayed to forgotten gods. Only humanity continued building. A medical team ran final scans on Elias. They discovered something unusual in his DNA, small patterns identical to symbols carved inside Illyrian 47. His genetic code contained traces of old sequences no human generation before recorded. It was as if his blood carried fragments of the ancient builders. They attempted to find others with similar patterns. No one matched. The machine recognized only him. The launch chamber prepared. The gate glowed bright white, lifting itself 10 meters into the air, rotating like a soft spiral. Before stepping inside, Elias asked his crew one question. "If I fail, do not rebuild this gate. Do not repeat this mission. You must create a new future, not follow mine." His words created silence. Then he stepped inside. The gate collapsed around him, folding space like liquid metal. His body dissolved, not painfully, but like he entered warm light. His skin faded first, then his bones, then his heartbeat. Soon, he was nothing but awareness floating inside a field of stars. He was nowhere and everywhere. He saw endless space. Infinite layers of reality played simultaneously, past, present, void. His thoughts no longer belonged to a single place. He saw Earth thousands of years ago, before humans traveled beyond their planet. He saw extinct species humans never met. He saw future wars that humanity could still win or lose. Time was not moving forward, it existed as one shape. A voice, not male, not female, spoke from everywhere. "You are the anchor. Do not choose based on sorrow alone. Elias floated through memories. He saw every world erased. He saw those who never got a chance to live. He saw colonies wiped away not because they were weak, but because existence had rewritten itself without emotional reasoning. He now understood. The threat was not a living enemy. The threat was unfinished design. Reality itself had been left incomplete by whoever built it first. It was like someone wrote a story, but never wrote the last page. Now the universe was correcting itself by erasing sections of the book. Then the voice spoke again. Rewrite cannot be done through power. Rewrite must be done through sacrifice. Images formed in front of him, possible futures. In one version of reality, humanity became rulers of the entire galaxy. They rewrote events to favor themselves. They lived forever. Other species vanished. In another version, humanity repaired existence but erased themselves from history, saving everyone else at the cost of their entire legacy. And in a third version, humanity survived, but alone. Every other life form disappeared. Each future came with a strange consequence. The machine did not offer victory. It offered balance. Elias remembered his real world, families waiting, children hoping, crews watching distorted stars vanish. He remembered the ruins glowing when humans arrived. Why humans? Why not any other race? Because humanity always did one thing others did not. They questioned fate. They never accepted endings. They rebuilt after every collapse. They fought even when defeated. They believed tomorrow could exist, even when today burned. He chose. He rewrote the point of origin, not attacking, not erasing, but adjusting the timeline so that humanity entered the galaxy earlier than it originally did. The rewrite rippled backward. Worlds returned. Lost civilizations reappeared. People erased earlier came back, not knowing they were gone. But something else changed. Humanity remembered everything. Elias opened his eyes. His body reformed inside the timeline chamber. Light folded back into skin. His lungs filled. His heart restarted. He fell to the ground but did not fall alone. Every human watching felt the new timeline. They remembered old reality, and new. Elias stood slowly, breathing hard. Rewrite is complete, he whispered. But something still echoed in the air. When the future changes, the future watches back. Humanity had saved existence. But what they awakened was not done observing. When Elias walked out of the timeline chamber, time had not moved outside. For everyone watching, he was gone for only 6 seconds. But humanity felt different. Something invisible had shifted. Reality no longer felt unstable. The distortion waves vanished across all star sectors. Lost colonies suddenly reappeared on scanners. Children who never existed a day earlier walked out of homes. Families reunited with people they had already mourned. Other species remained confused. None of them remembered the disappearance. To them, nothing unusual had ever happened. Their timelines had updated without conflict, without loss, without awareness. Their minds had been rewritten too, but only humans carried both memories, like two timelines layered inside their consciousness. Humans remembered the erased worlds. They remembered the fear. They remembered reality tearing apart like paper. And because of those memories, humanity changed. The council gathered in Earth's central chamber. It was no longer filled only with humans. Representatives from 12 civilizations sat beside them, species once distant, once arrogant, now looking at humans with respect that had never existed before. But they had questions. What happened? What did your commander change? What allowed the distortions to stop? Elias stood before them, weaker, older than he had been hours before. Time inside the rewrite chamber had aged him. The others gasped silently, nobody knew how long he lived inside that space. He answered truthfully. I did not defeat anything. I corrected something unfinished. There was no celebration. No applause. No ceremony. Because humanity understood that their role in existence had changed forever. Weeks passed, and evidence of the rewrite emerged everywhere. Star maps changed across major archives. A path of missing stars that once showed a corridor of dark space now displayed living systems, 8 of them thriving with life. A species long believed extinct sent communication. They spoke ancient dialects that only a few historians recognized. They had been erased, but now lived again. Some planets now showed human colonies older than human spaceflight itself. Humanity had entered advanced expansion ages earlier than originally recorded. New structures existed on Earth's moon that no one remembered building, but existed because the timeline supported it. Humans were living inside a revised past. The strangest discovery happened at Illyrian 47. The glowing ruins turned dark. The floating machine stopped reacting. Its chambers became silent metal. But carved at the entrance was a new message, one that never existed before. It read: Rewrite complete. Future stabilized. No further entry permitted. Aliens dismissed it. Humans understood it. The gate was closed forever. A council of civilizations gathered, now structured differently. Humanity did not ask for control. Instead, they established something called the Future Senate, a legislative council responsible not for ruling worlds, but for ensuring that no timeline was ever tampered with again. Humanity held only one unique power: memory of the preserved timeline. Every decision now included human ethical vote, not based on strength, but responsibility. When other species tried claiming humans should decide everything, Elias refused. Rewrite is not power, he said. It is debt. Humanity owed existence the truth. Time flowed differently now. Years later, children across galaxies studied the rewrite not as war, not as invasion, not as myth, but as real history. Humans became the guardians of memory, not conquerors. No species feared them, they respected them. Humanity's influence came not through force, but through wisdom earned by standing alone in front of the collapsing universe. Commander Elias retired to an observatory built near Illyrian 47. He lived quietly, spending nights under a sky filled with stars that once vanished. He watched civilizations thrive that once ceased to exist. He watched children laugh on colonies that once turned to dust. One evening, as he sat alone, the chamber where the timeline machine once floated flickered faintly, not glowing, not awakening, just shimmering like frost under moonlight. For a moment, an echo whispered, not from outside, but inside his mind. You chose balance. The future holds because you held the past. He closed his eyes, not afraid, not regretful. Humanity continued forward. Not as the species that conquered space, but as the species that repaired it. And across the thousands of worlds now alive again, one phrase spread quietly, written in archives, whispered by historians, carved on monuments. When the galaxy ignored the warning, humanity listened, and rewrote existence for everyone. That became humanity's legacy. Not victory. Not dominance.